Hey everybody, my name is Brad. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you, Fallon and Sarah, both you two. It's always neat to see you. I'll tell you what, I think one of the joys of, a lot of the joy I get when I come here on Monday and Thursday night to seeing these women from the halfway house. I'll tell you, you guys are a real inspiration to a lot of us, and just grateful for you guys being here. I'm glad to be here tonight too, glad to be here sober. My sobriety date is May the 30th of 2001. Little story with that. It was April the 30th of 2001, but I realized early on when I came in here that if April was going to be my sobriety date, that was going to throw a real kink into Cynthia's plans, because she celebrates in April too, and she doesn't like people stealing her thunder. I realized that really. So I went back out and did a little more research for another 30 days is what happened there. But no, I just kid Cynthia about that. Grateful to be here tonight. Grateful to be here sober. Cynthia, thank you for asking me. You know what I hope to maybe share, what I normally try to share in my story is the struggles I had getting sober, and I struggle a lot. For those of you that know, I struggle a lot, and sort of what's the good things that have happened to me, and what my life's like today because of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Because I don't drink today one day at a time, and that's nothing short of a miracle. That's nothing short of a miracle. You know, growing up, wow. Grew up in a very strict religious Mennonite home in Pennsylvania. No alcohol, never. There was no alcohol in the house. My mother and father didn't drink, didn't know anything about. It just wasn't done. It just wasn't done in our community. Had a normal childhood, I think, growing up. For the early part, my first 13 years of childhood, I was. I guess if there was a time that something critical happened in my life early on, and it was critical at the time. My parents got divorced when I was 13 years old, and that just didn't happen in the community I grew up in. Like I said, it was a Mennonite community. You know, we were in church. Church was a big part of my life. I'm grateful for that today. I'm grateful for those things that I learned early on in the church. You know, values, I guess you'd call morals, things like, you know. I'm grateful for those today, because those are parts of my life today. But you know, growing up, that was just an odd thing. That just no one else in that community. I was the only one that had their parents get divorced. And looking back on that, at the time, I don't think it had that big of an effect. But looking back on it today, I know that was a change for me. And I started drinking shortly after that. I went to live with my mother. I don't remember my first drink. I was, I think, probably about 14, 15. I can remember a friend of mine, his mother used to get us a 6-pack of beer or 2 6-packs of beer if we promised to stay in the house down in their basement, and they had a pool table. And that's what we did on weekends, and it was not a problem, I don't believe, early on. When we turned 16, and I had some older friends, 17, 18, you know, we'd go out on weekends, and the drinking age in Pennsylvania was 21, and I can remember everyone got served. There was a place called the Netsville Tavern where these guys could go in and get beer, and I remember riding around the country roads, you know, with a couple 6-packs, and again, just don't remember my first drink, don't remember. I obviously must have liked the feeling, because I continued to do it with a vengeance for many years. Got out of high school. I can remember my senior year in high school. I was 17. The last half of that senior year of high school, I would leave at lunchtime every Friday. I had a job on the weekend at my cousin's place over in York, working with the horses. I'd stop at the Netsville Tavern and have a couple of beers. I was 17 years old and getting served on a Friday afternoon. When I got out of high school, excuse me, got away from home. I moved away from home immediately. Went to work at the racetrack. I became a daily drinker from the beginning. I drank every single day. Looking back, I drank alcoholically from the very beginning. I drank every day, and we'd get off. You know, we start work early in the morning at 4 in the morning, and we'd be done by lunchtime, and then didn't have the rest of the day off unless we were racing that night. And just that's what everyone did. They just went to the bar to hang out. And drank all day. And of course, I was young and wanted to fit in, I guess, with the older crowd. that's just what we did. That's just what I did every day. And so I drank alcoholically from the very beginning. I loved the way it made me feel. It made me sick. I didn't care, but I drank every day. I was a daily drinker my whole life. That continued for 10 years. Went to work for a construction company, on a paving crew and driving all types of different things, and get off work at 4 or 5, 6 in the afternoon, and boy, that everyone just went to the bar, and I just fit right in there. That's how I spent every single evening. One of the things over my drinking career that I guess I want to share, that I never had any consequences. I never had any consequences for my drinking. Bottom line is I just never got caught. I was lucky I never got caught. I drove drunk every day of my life, probably almost. Never spent a night in jail for my drinking. I never got caught. That construction job, I got laid off in the winter. What happened, I don't know, around 1980, I guess, something like that. This bar I used to hang out, sports bar in Hershey, they needed a bartender. And I was laid off that winter. I started tending bar, and I tended bar for the next probably 7, 8, 9 years. Boy, you talk about escalating my alcoholism. Wow, I mean, part of the deal was you were supposed to drink back there with the customers. And man, did I ever take advantage of that. And I don't know. I guess I could hold my liquor pretty good, I guess, and just I did that for a number of years. But my drinking really, I was a daily drinker before, but it really started getting bad then. There were some other substances that came into play, and the only thing I'll share about that is what I found when I came here to Alcoholics Anonymous and started treating my alcoholism one day at a time. I didn't have a drug problem anymore. That took care of my drug problem. So that's all I'll share about that. That's been my experience. Moved down here in 1986. I spent actually the first winter I came down here was the winter of '73, the year I got out of high school, and I said, boy, if I ever had an opportunity, I just fell in love with Southern Pines, just fell in love with it, and thought if I ever had the opportunity to move down here, and that opportunity presented itself in 1986, so I moved down here. Worked at the Jefferson Inn for a couple of my first year down here. Worked at Neville's, worked at Finch's for a number of years. Started my own my own business, I guess, back in, I don't know, early 1990, somewhere around 89, 90, and a little fencing business out in horse country, and was very, very fortunate over the years, and just I still do that today. I'm very lucky to do that, and started that up, and still did the bartending part-time, and the business sort of built up, so I quit tending bar, I guess, in, I don't know, 93 or something. I met my wife today. I met her in 1994. We got married in 95. She didn't drink. And I know she used to go to these meetings, what she talked about these meetings, and she quit going when we started going out. And I knew what those AA meetings were. I said, that's what she used to do, go to those AA meetings. And she quit going, but she hadn't had to drink in 11 years. She had been sober 11 years. My drinking, well, it just got worse. Let's put it that way. It just got worse. It always gets worse. But again, I never had any consequences. I couldn't go to the post office. I couldn't go to the grocery store without a beer or a cocktail between my legs. I mean, that was just normal. That's what I did. That's how I lived. Every day. That's just the way I lived. And by the grace of God, like I said, I never got caught. When we first met, we used to always take a week every year, and we used to always go on vacation. We used to love to go to the Caribbean, and used to go down there for a week every year. And we were down there, I don't know, we had been married 2 or 3 years, for 1 week, and my deal was wake up, get something in the stomach first thing. At 8:30, 9 o'clock, we'd head to the beach. On the way to the beach was a case of Little Heinekens. I mean, that's how I started. That's what vacation, I drank twice as much. And that was just a starter, that case of little 7-ounce ponies, Heinekens. And we stopped there one morning, I'll never forget it. And I went in, and I'm getting out of the car, and she said, would you get me a 6-pack of Miller Lite? And I can remember thinking in the back of my mind, yes, yes. And long story, she went back. Basically, she went back out, and I had a whole lot to do with that. Looking back on our marriage, when with her trying to being sober, going back out drinking, she got sober again. I never once thought of how my drinking was affecting her when she was sober. Never once thought what that was like for her. And she just, bottom line is, and we talked about this, man, she just couldn't handle it anymore. I mean, she just couldn't handle me anymore, her sober and me drunk. And she went back out for until '99, probably for 2, maybe 3 years. And I used to tell her, boy, and she was a bad drunk. God, she was awful. I mean, she couldn't handle her liquor at all. And she just drank beer, but couldn't handle it at all. I mean, it was awful. And what happened? It was 1999. Matter of fact, I had gone down to visit her. She used to go down to West Palm Beach with the horses every winter for 2 months, and I'd fly down for a week or a weekend and visit her or whatever. And she lost our dogs down there one time, drunk. She came home one night, and the dogs, they were gone for like 2 weeks. And it was just, and that was her, I guess you could say her bottom, whatever you want to call it. And she went back to AA and got sober again. The winter of 2000 was I flew down to see her one weekend, and she took me to an first AA meeting I've ever been to. She used to go to a 6:45 meeting early in the morning before she'd go to the horse show, and she took me to this meeting. And I know she took me there. I know for a fact. She's never told me this, but I know she took me there hoping that I'd hear something, because she was about fed up with me. I know that my drinking had really gotten bad, I passed out. Got to the point I just passed out every night, and I started drinking earlier and earlier in the day, instead of waiting until after work. Or it used to be I'd wait till after work. Then it got to be like 3 o'clock, and then 2 in the afternoon. This kept backing up, and the last 2 years probably it got before lunchtime. Let's put it that way. But she was hoping I'd hear something, and 9 o'clock, that meeting was over. I was on the way back to the showgrounds. I stopped at the convenience mart and bought my beer just like I always did. I didn't hear a thing. The last vacation was September. We went to the Cayman Islands, September of 2000, and I promised her that I wasn't going to drink so much. I was going to drink O'Doul's. Now, I'd never tried O'Doul's before. But I told her I was not going to drink. I was going to drink O'Doul's. That lasted maybe 2 days, and it went from buying 2 6-packs of O'Doul's every day. Then I bought a 6-pack of O'Doul's, 6-pack of Heineken. Anyway, the bottom line is by the end of the week it was 3 6-packs of Heineken a day, and I was off. It was bad. That was September of the year 2000. We had a big fight one Friday night. Not a physical fight, but just I don't remember what happened, but I remember Saturday morning we were outside, and she was in tears, and I knew something. I knew something had to be done. I knew I had to do something about my drinking. I was scared to face that fact. So that following, we called a friend of mine who's a member of this group, and he suggested He said there's a meeting at the Baptist Church Monday night. I went out to try it. That was October the 1st of the year 2000. For the next 7 months, I came to that meeting here. It was downstairs, and I don't remember. I remember driving around the block before I got here because I had a bottle of vodka between my legs. I was scared to come in. I was half pie-eyed when I came in here, but for some reason I came back that Thursday. To this day, I don't know why, and I continue to come back. And now I didn't quit drinking. But I guess the one good thing is I kept coming back. And what happened the next 7 or 8 months started a period of, I quit for 3 days, and then I drink again, and I quit for a week, and I would drink. And I had never, ever, ever tried quitting drinking. I've heard a lot of people tell stories that they tried quitting drinking. I never tried quitting, never wanted to quit before I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. It was just not an option. It's never something I never... and a lot of that was probably because I never had any consequences, never had any circumstances that gave me any reason to quit. Now I can promise you that when my wife gave me that ultimatum to do something about your drinking or you're out of here, I knew that was serious, and I knew that was going to snowball into losing my marriage, losing my home. I'm sure I eventually would have lost my business too. So anyway, I continued to come back, but I couldn't quit drinking. I picked up a lot of white chips. And I know today there are a lot of people, that's just what I needed. There are a lot of people come in here and pick up one white chip. That just wasn't my case. I don't know if I'd have picked up one if I'd still be sober or not, but there are an awful lot of people that come in here and only pick up one white chip. But I picked up 20 some of them. And finally in March of, I had a sponsor and all that. What I know today is I believe getting sober and staying sober, especially getting sober, is all about following directions. It's all about following directions. And I followed no directions when I got here. I was the type of person that I'd pick up the phone and call my sponsor after I got drunk. I did that time after time after time again. I can remember him saying to me one time, the first thing you need to do is say a prayer when you feel like drinking. And he said, did you say it? And I was scared to pray because I was afraid that thing might work. I'm telling you, because I wanted to drink more and I wanted to stay sober. And that was that way for a long time, for months. And finally, in April of that year, 2001, I went away to treatment for 28 days, and the worst 28 days of my life. But looking back, that was probably one of the best experiences that I've ever, one of the best things I've ever done. Got out of treatment April the 30th, came here, it was a Monday, came here Monday night and picked up a silver token, a 30-day chip, first one I'd ever gotten. And I was proud of that bad boy, I can promise you, after all the white chips. And, we used to meet downstairs, and I can remember to this day, I can remember seeing Wallace and RG used to sit over there on the left-hand side. And I'd go up and I'd get another white chip. It was time after time, and they just sit there shaking their head. I mean, I don't know if I don't know. I can picture those two sitting over there. There he goes again, and shaking their heads. And that's just the way it was. I just really, really struggled. And the bottom line is I didn't want to quit drinking. But, near the end, I found I was so miserable mentally. I was so miserable that I wanted to quit. God, I wanted to quit. I didn't want to feel like that anymore, but I couldn't. I couldn't quit. I just couldn't. And I don't know what happened. I got out of treatment. 2 weeks after I was out of treatment, I'm going out Young's Road. I stopped at a little convenience store where I used to buy my beer, and I was just getting cigarettes and a soda, and I walked out there with a six-pack and drank again. 2 weeks out of treatment. Same thing happened another 2 weeks after that. And I don't know what happened. Daniel and Steve that Sunday afternoon came over and 12-stepped me for what I hope to be the last time. And I don't know what, it was just a struggle. God, the first 2 years were just unbelievable for me. I was just so miserable mentally. And looking back, I know now, I didn't know how to live sober. I didn't know how to live because I drank my whole life. And I was angry that alcohol was taken away from me, that I couldn't drink anymore. I know I was angry. I was resentful of that fact, that I couldn't drink anymore. And I just couldn't fathom what life, because I didn't know how to live without liquor. I drank every day, from a daily drinker for 30-some years to taking that away. I didn't know how to live without that stuff. And gosh, it was a struggle. It was the one constant was I continued to come to meetings. I didn't follow the directions the way I should have. I didn't call my sponsor every day. I didn't do a lot of stuff I should have. And again, I know today that following directions is really, really important for new people when they get in here, and it's something I didn't do early on, and I'm just, by the grace of God, one of the blessings in sobriety has been, I knew from the first time I came in here, the first meeting I came to, I knew that if I was going to get sober, God was going to have something to do with this deal. I knew that early on. And I thought that would, and after a while I said that was going to be a turning point. Because unfortunately I've been raised in the church and always believed in a God, always believed in a higher God in my understanding. And so that was not a struggle for me, but I still don't understand what God's about today, and I don't have to understand today. The bottom line is that I do believe, I do believe in a higher power today, and it's the most important part of my sobriety. I'm not standing up here sober tonight for any other reason. I believe this is a gift. I believe it's the gift been given to me. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. I haven't had the desire to drink for a long time. And boy, early on, I can promise you, that's all I thought about for 2 years. That's all I thought about was, boy, I wanted to drink so bad. I wanted to drink so bad. And how am I ever going to live without drinking? It was a mentally, it was just a real struggle. Fortunately, I didn't have any physical problems from drinking over the years, but boy, the mental part of it was extremely difficult for me. So God is good. God's been good in my life, giving me a lot of things in sobriety. I'm grateful that, my friend Roger, who told me to show up here on that Monday night, I'm grateful that I walked into this meeting. We have a lot of good meetings, a lot of good home groups around, but I'm grateful to be a part of this home group for what we do today. We do a lot of service work here, and I didn't want to do that stuff early on. The last thing, my sponsor and others said, you need to get out, you need to help others. Early on, they told me that, and I can remember him dragging me up to Carthage with him on Tuesday nights. God, I hated that. I hated that, going to that jail. To carry the message to some, I didn't understand that. I was the one that was hurting people. The heck with it. I don't care how you're feeling. I was the one that was struggling up here and struggling in here, and it took me a while to figure that out. But that's certainly been a real one of the highlights of my sobriety in my life today is being able to carry that message that we carry here at Primary Purpose Group. We're fortunate to be able to go over to the hospital a couple times a week, and we're able to get down to that treatment facility. That if you told me 12 years ago that I'd be going back to that treatment center once a month, I said, man, no way. To carry the message to somebody else, and it's really something I enjoy doing today. That place is really has a special place in my heart, and the people down there. So that's been a real blessing since I've gotten sober. My relationship with my wife's never been better because I'm sober, because I don't drink today. I can promise you that has a whole lot to do with it. I've changed. It talks about that psychic change that we have it talks about that in the big book, and I don't know what a psychic change is. I know my thinking is different today. I treat people differently today than when I did when I was drinking. I know that. So I guess that's a psychic change. I believe it is. I was taught down at that treatment center to pray every morning, to read something every morning. I still do those things every morning when I get out. It's before I do anything. I haven't missed doing that since I've gotten sober. That's another thing. I'm scared not to do it because it works. I start my day off every day with a prayer. I ask to do God's will, and I say some other things, and I read the 3rd and 7th step prayer. It's just a little routine that I have, and then I read my 2 readings, my 2 books, meditation books in the morning, and like I say, I'm scared not to do it because it's work. It's continued to work. And I was taught that stuff early on, and I didn't do that stuff early on when I was supposed to. What a coincidence, I didn't get sober either. So anyway, I'll sort of wind it down with this. So just really grateful for the life that Alcoholics Anonymous has given me. I hope I continue to have the desire to come to meetings. I could not. One of the things about this home group that I like, I don't think I could be one person that can just go to meetings. That's just me. I need to have the structure that this group has. I need the stuff that we do to keep me active and keep me involved. I know how I am. I know if I just started going to meetings all around town, that might start out at 7, then it's going to be down to 5 meetings, then it's going to be down to 3. And I know how I am. Because I don't fit in anywhere. That's the beauty. I believe of a home group. It's a connection. It's a connection with me, through God, with other people, through other group members. It's a commitment I make to myself, and a commitment I make to the other members of the group. So I'm just grateful for that. Thanks.